Hey MMA fans, this is Cage Minds, Micah Frankel doing our predictions. UFC on Fuel 1. To any fighters I messed up their names, my apologies, didn't mean to offend anyone. And just to let everyone know, these first three prelims we're talking about, all six competitors are making their debuts in the UFC. First prelim to talk about, on short notice, Dirty Bird Tim Means, 16-3-1, taking on Bernardo Treco Magalesh, who's 11-1. Means comes to us being a King of the Cage two-weight class title belt holder in junior welterweight and at lightweight, 6'2", so he's a taller fighter for these weight classes, likes to use his striking prowess, his wrestling in reverse, strike and win with the TKO. Bernardo Magalesh likes to use his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. He's an Australian lightweight champion. He takes the fights to the ground, uses ground and pound, will win with the decision, or if you give him a submission, he'll take it. He doesn't seem to be too into the chess game and making his opponent make a mistake to be able to get the submission. I think that Tim Means is going to come in, prove to be too long, too strong, and too good with his defensive wrestling, and win this fight with a first-round TKO. So we're going Tim Means, a first-round TKO. Second prelim we're talking about, Anton Kabayan, who's 16-4, taking on Justin J. Bomb-Salas, who's 9-3. Anton Kabayan would rather take this to the ground. He has 8 submissions, 4 decisions, 4 TKOs. Use ground and pound. He looks to be the physically stronger of the two fighters. Will have an inch height advantage, not sure on the reach. Has a slight experience advantage, and both of these guys have fought upper echelon competition to deserve this meeting here in the UFC. Salas, good boxing, good striking coming out of the grudge camp, uses his takedowns to score points, not overtly aggressive. He has 3 decisions, 3 TKOs, 3 submissions. Not really too sure on how his submission game is, wasn't able to view any of those videos. So from what I know out of seeing the two fighters, I gotta say that Anton's gonna push the fight a little more, get it against the cage, make it a little dirtier, and in a split decision, I think Anton Kabayan wins this fight. We could always see Justin Salas land a big J bomb for a knockout, but I think Anton gets it with a split decision. Next prelim, Buddy Roberts, 11-2, taking on Sean Loeffler, who's 25-5. Roberts, a good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu practitioner, came out to Albuquerque, New Mexico to work on his striking. He's done that. Now he's taking the next step in his mixed martial arts career. Sean Loeffler, this is the biggest fight of his career. Prior to this, the biggest fight of his career was versus Brian Baker. He lost that in Bellator. Since then, a 6-fight win streak. I gotta say, I'm not too impressed with the level of competition he's been facing. Due to that, it's very close. I think that Roberts has a little more submission prowess, a little lengthier in the range, and is going to use his striking to get this fight down to the ground, actually, making Loeffler want to do it in a transition. I think I see a second-round rear naked choke for Buddy Roberts. We're going to predict a second-round rear naked choke for Buddy Roberts. Next fight we're talking about, Jonathan Brookins, former Ultimate Fighter winner, 13-4, taking on Wagner Rocha, who's 7-2, and has a great Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game. Both guys have great Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu games. I'd say that Brookins' wrestling is a little better. Both guys are still trying to get their striking games up to par with the rest of their divisions, and I honestly think that Brookins just wins this fight being in better positions, getting to better positions, and wins it with the grappling, unanimous decision, Jonathan Brookins. Next fight we're talking about, Ivan Pride of El Salvador, Menjivar, takes on John Prince Albert. Menjivar's 23-8. Albert is 7-1. Menjivar, I think, is going to be the faster, more skilled in the striking. I see Albert trying to get this to the ground if he's able to. I think Menjivar has too many tricks up his sleeve. Menjivar has never been knocked out, even though Albert hits hard. I see too many tricks up the sleeve. I see it getting to the ground, and I see a third-round armbar coming for Ivan Menjivar. Last on our prelims is TJ Dillashaw, Ultimate Fighter, finalist from Season 14, taking on Wild the Gazelle Watson, who's 9-3. Dillashaw is 5-1. He's a wrestler. He's looked to improve his striking, training with Rafael Cordero. I think he's going to not be successful in the striking game due to Wiald's 7-inch reach advantage, that Dillashaw will then look to take this fight to the ground, that when it gets there, Watson will use his length to slap on a triangle, get a submission. Worst thing that happens out of this prediction is I'm wrong, and Dillashaw grounds and pounds him the whole night. I got the 1 or 2 thoughts, but I think Watson's legs, his dexterity, his length, and his ability to jump into submissions the minute takedowns happen will prevail for a victory over TJ Dillashaw. So we're going with Wild Watson with a triangle for the victory. We're moving on to the main card. Starting off that main card is a heavyweight battle. Steve Miocic, who's 7-0, taking on Phil DeFries, who has 8 victories with 1 no contest, no losses, no draws. Miocic has wrestling and boxing. DeFries is primarily a grappler. Both of them are looking to become more well-rounded through their games. I've heard rumors of both of them training with the Alliance Training Center, so two guys are coming into a fight training next to each other. I don't know how likely that is. So it'll be interesting to hear during fight week where they were training, what they were doing, as I'm a little unsure. Miocic, I think, has the wrestling and the striking. He has more than just the one thread. I think DeFries is going to look for the grappling. I can see this being one round apiece going to the third round. DeFries will be stressfully looking for a takedown, diving at them, and I think Miocic hits a big uppercut and is able to win this fight with the TKO in the third round. Next on our main card, Aaron A-Train Simpson, who's 10-2, taking on Ronnie Marks, who's 12-1. Aaron Simpson, on a 3-fight win streak, is on the brink of getting up to that top 15, top 10 competition. He was there once in the UFC, taking back-to-back losses against Chris Lieben and Mark Munoz. Ronnie Marks is only making his second trip into the octagon. In his first one, he used grappling, dominating, and controlled Carlos Vemal, who's known for being a Croatian national wrestling champion. So with those kind of grappling skills, I see that Aaron Simpson's Arizona State wrestling will be nullified. He's going to put in the same game plan he had against Ravison Red Safer. That means not playing with the ground. That means sprawl and brawl, using the wrestling in defense, trying to stay on his feet, and trying to use his boxing advantage. Ronnie Marks, coming from Nova União, great grappler. We know he should have a great Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu game. His striking, we don't know much about. So just off the top of my head, Aaron Simpson is going to take that, use his advantage, and try to work that for the decision victory. So that's what we're going to go with. Aaron Simpson with a unanimous decision, seeing as he has more tools, more skills at his hands right now than Ronnie Marks. We'll look to see how much Marks has improved, but we got Aaron Simpson winning the fight. We're taking this to the co-main event. Skyscraper Stefan Struve, who's 26-5, taking on Dave Herman, who's 21-2. Struve, what worries me about Struve is that his last 3 losses are all by knockout. Got to get that out of the way first thing. Junior Dos Santos, Roy Nelson, Trevor Hopper Brown, they've all put down Struve. Struve, though, has also came back from a lot of punishment and has been able to survive fights. Very good with his Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu. Takedowns, only 2 or 3 in his UFC career in 9 fights. Basically, if you want to stay striking, he'll stay striking. Unless he really gets scared, then he'll take it to the ground. A la how his fight went against Pat Barry. What happens in this fight? Dave Herman seems to have a better takedown defense and submission defense. He hasn't been caught up yet in 23 mixed martial arts bouts. He has 5 submissions in his own pocket, so he knows what he's doing on the ground. He likes to use his wrestling in defense and use his striking. Struve has a height, reach, and weight advantage heading into this fight. If he can use any of that, the fight may turn around on him. But it's his chin and Dave Herman's chin for taking abuse, and also his knockout record of, I think, 12 to 17 of his 21 wins are from the knockout. I think we see another TKO victory, second round, Dave Herman to beat Stefan Struve. We go up to the main event now. Diego Sanchez, the Dream, 25-4, taking on Jake Juggernaut Ellenberger, who's 26-5. Sanchez has a heart, has a desire, has a will, has a good wrestling pedigree, good Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, and a very vicious uppercut, or going in initiating the striking with a right hook. Jake Ellanberger has power in both hands and his own wrestling background. Diego has an advantage when it comes to the Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, but on the wrestling, I think they'll nullify each other. I think it turns into a striker's match, and that Ellenberger hits harder and is somewhat more technical than Sanchez. I see this going to the decision, as no one has the heart to keep going and is able to take the abuse that Diego Sanchez is, but I got Jake Ellenberger winning this fight in a unanimous decision, marching his way towards a welterweight title shot. So we'll go back through those 10 predictions quickly. Tim Means, first round TKO. Anton Kabayan with a split decision. Buddy Roberts, a second round rear naked choke. Jonathan Brookins with a unanimous decision. Ivan Menjivar, I'm going to go armbar in a third round. While Watson with a triangle to stop the ground and pound in the wrestling of TJ Dillashaw. Steve Miocic with a third round TKO. Aaron Simpson with a unanimous decision. Dave Herman, second round TKO. Jake Ellenberger for the unanimous decision. Thank you for watching the video. Hit Cage Minds up, Facebook and Twitter. Leave a comment, like the video if you'd like. Thanks for watching. Uncage the warrior within yourself. Have a good night.